like to start by asking you a little bit about your personal history, about your childhood, the kind of family you grew up in, or your earliest memories, those kind of things.
Well, I would start by saying that my ethnicity is that I'm a black person. You know, in Nicaragua, we have this thing with some of the black people prefer us to be called Creole, and some of us say, no, we're just plain black. Well, I'm just plain black. My father and my mother were people who speak English. My first language is Creole English. That's the language that I knew in my childhood that we speak in our homes and things like that.
And where were you born?
I was born in Puerto Cabezas, but I actually grew up in Rosita Mines. You know, I don't know if you know, but in Rosita there was a company, a gold mining company. And well, in that settlement, that's where we grew up, me and my brother and my sisters. And there was everything that we needed, you know, like almost like campaments or the satellite town that are made by these companies. I grew up as a Moravian. I'm from the Moravian religion, and from I was very small. I don't remember myself not being in the church. Yeah, and I continue being from the Moravian church. And I am a teacher. That's what I actually studied to be, a teacher. So in my working experience, I have taught in primary school, and I have been a secondary teacher also. I have 3 children, 3 girls. I didn't have any boys. And I know my children have their children, so from these, my children's, I have 8 grandchildren. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. 8 granddaughters, 5 granddaughters and 3 grandsons. So and then from, let's see, it was like 1989, I actually started getting involved in women movement, and that has to do with women human rights. And
were there experiences you remember from your childhood that helped you get involved in those things?
Yeah, you know, I come from a home where it was a general practice that whatever my mother decided, I mean, my father couldn't come and change that decision. And whatever he decided, they didn't have that kind of problem. I didn't grow knowing that, you know, that the women didn't have voice. I mean, because in my family, women always have voice. And that voice was heard and had to be obeyed, you know, just as much as the men in the family. So I come from that sort of family. Then my aunts and even my uncle. I mean, I come from a family where everybody had rights, really, as I would say today.
Okay.
So, yes, so.
Were there experiences from your childhood that made you interested in getting involved in political work?
No, not really. Not really. Not in political work, directly saying, because in my childhood I was interested like in learning language. Imagine. Yeah, I remember I heard like, you know, Connie Francis, and she was started like famous around the time, and people would say she sings in 7 languages. And I would just go like, oh my gracious, that is what I'd like to do, speak several languages. But along the way, you know, that got lost because I had my first child when I was just 16 years old. And imagine at that time, I mean, things wasn't this easy as it is now. You know, doors are open and things like that. But at that time, when you had a child, I mean, that really changed your whole status. So that I had to learn to be a mother and
in what way? What things changed for you?
What happened in the time when I got pregnant? And if you had a baby, you could go back to school. I was in 4th year at the time. So it was like if my life had ended there, you know, according to society. But then I had such a loving family, you know, that my dad said, no way, your life is not ended here. You're going to finish high school and you're going to learn whatever we could afford and things like that. Because at the time, we didn't know what was a university. When you said university studies, that sounded like something, but so far and so difficult to reach because, well, we didn't have an option in that sense. What was our option? You go to nursing school, you go to teaching school, and then you would go and learn to be a secretary. That was it. So, well, anyway, among these things, since my family kept on, you know, supporting me and everything, I was, of course, a single mother. Very single, very young, and I decided to go to teaching school. I said, well, I would really rather do something else, but, well, it wasn't possible at the time. So then I went to Wasman, which is in the northern part of Nicaragua, very near Honduras in the Rio Coco side. And well, I took out my teaching degree and I started working, and then things started changing in the country. You know, we had a revolution, and then with the revolution, we started hearing of so many other things and things like that. But well, and so I got a job. I got another job. I was in the Instituto de Seguridad Social.
It's the Institute of Social Security.
Okay.
So I worked with them for a year, and then I kept on going from there. And then I was working with the MLibrary that has to do with the derechos agrarios.
Agrarian rights.
And all those kind of things. So you know, I kept like
You're doing this for work.
Yeah, for work. Yeah, that was my job. And since I was a teacher, well, I had to say about the training courses with the farmers, and then I had to say about the training courses that had to do with forest fires and those kind of things. That was in Puerto Cabezas.
What made you interested in working for the organizations that were working on agrarian rights?
Really, when I went in, I went in working on the things that had to do with forest fires and those kind of things. And actually, since I was working for the government, I mean, it wasn't an option if I wanted or not. They said, you know, since you're a teacher and you have these capabilities, well, we need you here. And I went there, but I really liked it because anything that has to do with methodology, that has to do with teaching, in any of its area, I'm there. I really like that, yes.
So in the end, did you go to university to become a teacher?
No, I did not. Then what I did is got a course to go to Cuba, and then I studied social investigation. So I was there for a year. And it
it's
was
como sociology?
Yes, yes. So we really went like in in-depth sociology, working, you know, how to deal with people, how to understand, and this and that and the next. So I really enjoyed that, and that really gave me a lot more of understanding people.
And why did you do that in Cuba?
Because that was in 1976, and from Nicaragua, most people had the option to go to Cuba to study. And since I was working with these agrarian things, well, they sent and made that invitation, and I applied, and it was okay, and I went on. Because, you know, since it was a thing of getting more education, so I went and I had that studies, and I did fine.
And what was your first job after university? So
then after that university, when I came back, I had a big fight where I was working, and then I decided to go back to teaching. And then where I was teaching is that the Moravian have several high schools here, and I went to teach at the Moravian High School.
And how did you make the decision to go back to teaching?
I walked off my job. And I was looking for another job, and I just because they didn't want to give me a raise of pay, and they wanted me to do much more work. And they said, no, you have much more skills, so you're going to do much more work. So I said, that's great. I said, and what about my salary? And they said, no, we need to see if you could really do it. And I said, no, I don't need to show you people anything. We would go on this, or we aren't going on anything. And And besides that, I didn't used to mix political issue with my job. You know, I was always like clear on that. I'm working for the Nicaraguan government, but I am not part of the Sandinistas party. So and then they tried to kind of like mix those things, and I said, no, I'm over here. I don't want to do that with my life. You know, I've never left Nicaragua, never ever in my 57 years. But I kind of like put the limits and say, okay, I'm here, and we could negotiate me being here, and this is my point. And if this point is not good enough, well, I'm out of here. Yeah, so that's
so you
what
were out
happened.
of there,
I was
back
out
to
of
teaching.
here, yeah. And I went back to teaching for a year and a half, and then they looked for me, and this time was to go and work at what we call the Casa de Gobierno at that time. So they hired me as an analista, and it was to see about the social issues that were happening in it, and there at the in the RAM.
And where were you living at the time?
In Port.
Okay.
In Puerto Cabezas. Yeah, I lived there, and so then I went and I accepted that job, and it was pretty okay, you know, seeing what all the social issues, you know, education, healthcare, social security, and things like that. So then I got that experience, that working experience. And after 1990, when the Sandinistas lost the election, I kept working like for a couple months, and then the women issue came on board.
Okay.
You know, I have a friend, her name is Raquel Dixon, right? Actually, she's a deputy in the National Assembly. And she, you know, was looking for women, and she said, strong women, we need strong women here, because we're about to lose our space. Because the men from the Sandinistas party were like, wanted to take over the house, and they had much more important things to do. So then we gathered together, you know, it was like 6 women, and we would meet like every Wednesday, religiously. That meeting. What we said, don't ask me. I don't remember why this meeting was so important, but anyway, the thing was that, you know, as women, we need to make our voice be heard. We need to know and to understand and to be convinced that we have human rights because we're human people. And I was like, oh, I've never heard that said in this way. I like it. I like it. And I continue on with the group, and eventually, you know, things started getting really tough. You know, we were like politically attacked, I would say. You know, it was like, I mean, it's not important for women to be together, for women to have gatherings, to be organized and those kind of things.
And were you organizing on the coast still at this time?
Yes, I was still in Puerto Cabezas. So then it was like, because of this, I joined the women movement, the white women movement. Same year I became the coordinator, and I left my job to dedicate full time to this, because I found out that it was just so many things that had to be done around women rights. Then I learned about violence against women. And one of the first big things that we did in was we started a radio program, you know, a radio show, and we would get on the radio show and just, you know, start telling people women should not be living violence. Their responsibility of another kind of relationship. And of course people were laughing at us and saying, oh my gracious, you want to change the world. Don't you know that this is the world? And I remember I had some men friends, and they would say things like, Matilda, you sound really good, you have a nice voice. Oh, what are you going to do, child? Are you going to be that sit only for women or what? And I was like, no, but when you know about this, and you learn about this, and well, we kept on, beside the radio show, we started having like workshops. So we were in a learning process and teaching other women about this. And we kept growing, and then we had the support of Oxfam from England. And they really supported us in the first years, in 1990, 1992, those years. They supported us that we could be strengthened, institutionally strengthened, and we worked a lot with women in the communities, in the indigenous communities.
What strategies did you use at that time to work with women?
At that time, what was our strategy? We didn't even know the word strategy. But what we did, well, the first thing we learned is that we had to become brave people. Because if we weren't brave, we wasn't going to reach anyway. And the next strategy was alliance. You know, we really met women from this other part of the country. And we worked a lot in alliance with women, you know, with women who were here. And at that time, in the early
western part,
from the western Managua. At that time, there was a big revolution among women here because the women were breaking out from MLibrary. MLibrary is the government movement. I think you've heard about MLibrary. So then, I mean, it was like we were just in the right pattern, at the right time, in the right place. So we really worked in alliance, and that made us strong. That made us strong at the time. Yet, we learned that we needed to keep our autonomous conscience active because we're just so different. We're naturally from different culture. We see the world through different eyes, and so we had to learn to hear what our colleagues were saying, try to understand it, and then at the time to work with that in our grassroots level, where we would kind of like change things around and actually put it in our context. So that was like the main strategy, you know, learning about things and saying, okay, we could do that here. And there were things that we said, look, definitely we're out. This doesn't fit in the way of our lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're one of the most well-known spokespeople for issues on the Atlantic Coast and organizing on the Atlantic Coast. Can you talk a little bit about what some of the issues were for women on the Atlantic Coast that were unique there and why they might be different than what the women in Nicaragua were working on?
Well, one of the things is we were working on, and we continue working on it somehow, somewhere, is that we need to strengthen we need to get strengthened as people. When I say people, I am meaning that we are different and historically, you know, the Atlantic Coast have, it wasn't even Nicaragua, I mean, until 1894 when I started on that move. So we continue being very different, and we got our autonomy law. I don't know if you know about our autonomy law. Okay, and we believe that our autonomy law has to do with our life, men and women. So then, things that we do from the women movement, we consider men also. Meanwhile, our colleagues, like their main thing is, you know, I don't want to say working against men because it's not really like that, but I mean, men are like the target. You know, that men must learn relationship, men must change their violent behavior and things like that. Meanwhile, I mean, we have much more because we need our men to understand that we could grow together. You know, because we all live discrimination, and that's the point that we have. That we geopoliticamente, I mean, you know, because of where we're from, we are, we're not Spanish speaking. Spanish is not our first language, and things like that. So, I mean, these are issues that we consider also when we're talking about empowerment and development and those kind of things. So we have, like, the people as people present all the time.
And how did you make the decision to move from the organizing that you were doing on the Atlantic Coast to move to the organization here in Managua?
Well, of course that has to do with personal decision. And there was a time when I needed to grow. I needed to grow, and I felt the need of like sharing things from a different point of view, from a different level of doing things. Because you see, when I was on the Atlantic Coast, we mainly do grassroots level issues, and I really wanted to go on to the political, you know, the political issue, like you know, for example, like right now, what we're doing here in the Network Against Violence is we were dealing with the National Assembly, because there is a law that is being posted that is about violence against women. So I mean, we're like right down in that, and I am like one of the main persons from the national network who is like, you know, right there and looking at the lines. You know, just last week we were reviewing again what the deputies are saying, and we're finding out that some of the main things are being left out. Like they have stopped saying in the law violence against women. They're saying, you know, we're against violence. And then what they're putting in is like violence against children, violence against youth, and this and that. And of course they're trying to say that women are violent. Yeah, we have already taught them. So they know, I mean, we have to get real smart and say, okay, politically, how should we go around this? What are the words? Where do we put these words? And how do we go and do lobbying and that? So I'm really interested in doing this kind of things at this point of my life, and which really doesn't have a lot of opportunities on the Atlantic Coast to do this kind of things, because the organization are like, you know, in between level, but not really there. And when I was there, I tried to do these things and so, but then I was very lonely at it. Because there weren't like much women saying, oh yes, that's true, and here I come along with you, okay, let's hold on. No, I started feeling lonely at that point. And
when was that? Do you remember what years those were?
Yes, I remember. It was from like 1995 when we had the World Conference on Women in Beijing. So I was involved in everything that had to do with Beijing. Yeah. I was like in the local organization, the local commission, the national commission, the Central American Commission, and then the regional commission that has to do with the whole of Latin America and the Caribbean. And I really love the experience. I mean,
can you tell us about that experience?
Yes, I could tell you some things. As Black women, we realized that we needed to talk about our things too, you know, and we formed what is called the Afro-Latin American and Afro-Caribbean Women Network. That didn't go so good, but we did it, and it's somewhere there resting, but it might wake up sometime. But anyway, the thing is that at this point it was like, you know, we had to be studying the documents. We had to really learn what was happening, and I remember we were getting these bulletins. How you say
from the UN? No.
From the UN, from the women from South America, from all over, and we would get a bulletin that would say, you know, religiously they're trying to take this and this and this rights away from women. And I would say, oops, that can't be. I know about Bible, I know about religion. Come, let's see what this is about. And we would make some kind of proposal, and so you know, proposals were going back and forth, and even with the UN, and we would meet in one of the countries. Most of the time it was Guatemala, and we go to Guatemala and we meet with these women from the UN.
Did you elect women to go to Beijing as a network?
Pardon?
Did you elect any women to go to the Beijing meeting?
If I did?
You said you were organizing and involved in planning
I was involved,
Beijing.
yeah.
Did any women get chosen to attend the Beijing conference?
Nicaragua had one of the biggest delegations from Latin America. It was more than 60 women that came from here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we were there. Yeah. Okay. Yes, we did. And we even made friends with the government at the time. Because, you know, before Beijing, it was El Cairo that spoke about our reproductive rights and whatnot. And there it was horrible what our government did. The government said from Nicaragua that we could not have sexual education because that would be, what is the word now? I can't remember, it's Spanish or English. We would be like transgressing you know, cultural rights because we have these different kind of culture. No, the government never really cared about our culture till all of a sudden when it came to women's rights and especially our sexual and reproductive rights. Oh, it was like, no, that can't be. And so, you know, I mean, Nicaragua really went on, they really met with the Vaticano and did their things in Cairo, so we learned a lesson there. And we said, no, we got to prepare ourselves. So we went to work here in Nicaragua and we made sure that whosoever went to Beijing, first that it would not be a man. Because Juanita Jiménez was the Minister of Education.
Yeah.
So then, besides that it would not be a man but a woman, then we decided that we would tell her what to do and say. So we started having the, you know, meetings here and there, and it was accepted. And we actually like sat here in the country and said, okay, what things are not negotiable, and then we kind of like, you know, had our points, and the government naturally said, look, this definitely we are not going to touch because we are not going to reach to any agreement with you people because our point of view is so and so. So we went with an agenda where we had things in common. So, you know, it was like the girl child, okay, sure. I have no problem with the girl child. Okay, sexual and reproductive health, we have problem there. Okay, we have problem there. Where could we meet and where, you know, everybody would split up. So we did that kind of job here in the country, and then we did it in other countries also.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it in Honduras and we did it the same thing in Costa Rica. So of course we all joined up, you know, with Costa Rica and with Central America, and then we were kind of like touching the government and saying, you know, women in our countries, and maybe you don't know about this, but we would like to tell you, know, women are dying because they're getting pregnant too young and those kind of things. Are we accepting that women continue dying in the name of being mothers or things, you know, those kind of issues? So it went better. It went well, really, in Beijing. And what we finally had happen towards Beijing was that somebody from the women movement went along with the official delegation. So it wasn't only like we were saying we got somebody there. Yeah. So it was good. I mean, it was a nice experience and things like that. So that experience is there. And well, I like it. Yet, one of the things that I live personally is like, you know, my dream is that we on the Atlantic coast of Nicaragua and in the rest of Central American country also, we could kind of like reach there as women, you know, empowered women. I mean, not just women who would get a place in the government and, you know, she got a place and she's well obedient. Yeah, so if we could just, you know, reach where we will have really strong women with strong character and enough knowledge, because knowledge is important to start doing things, you know, from women point of view from our cultures. Yeah.
You've worked with a lot of organizers. Is there something that stands out for you that is the thing that you're most proud of in your career?
Oh.
One of your own accomplishments?
One of my own accomplishments. Well, one of my accomplishments here in the women movement is that we recognize that women issue has a lot of different manifestations, and that culturally, I mean, it is important to understand what is going on. So it is not a thing that is like black and white or just red and blue. You know, it is an issue that is much more profound because it has to do with women's daily lives. And since it has to do with women's daily lives, that means it has to do with the way I see my life, the way I live my life and things like that. Which doesn't mean that, that there is an excuse for women to live violence. I mean, the basic thing is women, there is no excuse, absolutely none, that women should be living violence. But then from that statement to how could we go around eradicating, struggling against violence and really being successful in it, I mean, that's a challenge. That's a big, big challenge because we need to understand women much more.
And how did that come to be an important topic for you? You said you were from a family where women's voices were really respected.
Because when I went into society, precisely that was part of my problem. I really assumed that the world was much more different. But yeah, I remember being a teacher, when I was a teacher, and maybe I would have a problem with a student. I was just so sure, but extremely sure, it didn't even occur to me that it could not be. That child had gone home and told his or her parents. So I would kind of like, oh my gracious, I'm sure I have some explaining to do. And then when I found out that there was no communication with that child and their parent, and that was a shock to me. I always remember, you know, because I would meet with these people most than anywhere in the church, and I would be like expecting them to come up and say, and what happened? You know, why did you have this problem or that problem? And then I noticed that no, that wasn't happening, and I was like, what is happening here? My gracious, and I started investigating. You know, and then it was like, no, I know nothing about that. My son or my daughter didn't share that with me. And I was like, oh, I couldn't imagine that something happened to you and you didn't want to share it with your parents. You know, and that the parents are very interested in this. So that was like one of the first things that I became conscious of. And then from there, I started noticing people more. And I said, oh my gracious, it doesn't share everything in the family, but how could that be? And then I remembered when I was working with these agrarian people, one of the women that was around, she's a sociologist, a Mexican, and somehow we got talking and I said, no, I'm so surprised at this. And she said, no, you are the one that is very different from everybody else. And she was like, you know, you're from a Protestant church and your mind is so open. And I said, no, but I think everybody's like that. She said, well, guess what? No, it's not like that. So then I kept learning, you know, I kept learning that the world wasn't the way it was in my small world. So from there, then I kept learning, and then when I learned and heard about violence against women and those kind of, start seeing it in the society, it was like shocking. It was like shocking, you know, like a man saying to a woman that, and shut your mouth up, I mean, what are you talking about, or you're just so silly, or this, because I didn't hear that in my family. And then my mom was still alive, and I would say, Mom, you know about this? Yeah, she said, but I made a bargain with your father when we started living together. I said, really? She said, yes. I told him, the day you ever curse me and tell me one of those foul words, I'm out of here. She said, and he knew that was for sure. So he never did. I said, oh, so women could make bargains. Great. You know, so well, then I started talking with my mom a lot, you know, and she said, no, child, that's not like that. No, the world is not the way we thought. The world is much different. And evil walks the world, she said, and violence is one of those evils. Oh, okay. So I learned violence is an evil thing. Yeah.
And once you started working with these organizations, what was your experience like as a woman? Did you feel like you experienced discrimination, or were there difficulties for you?
Of course. And I remember, you know, guys, I used to like fighting. And I remember I would always present myself and say, I I'm black, and then woman, they wanted to death. Oh, they wanted to just die and said, that's not possible, you have to be a woman and then black. And I said, es más, I am black, Christian, then woman. That was for years, years. And I kept saying it because I really made it a hobby afterward. You know, more than a political thing. It was like a hobby. I really liked it to see people get mad and things with my colleagues, my feminist colleagues. So, and eventually, we came around and actually kind of dealing with the subject. You know, I was just invited when it was in the month of March to give a talk on a big assembly that a group of women had, and they wanted me to talk about discrimination. Oh, it is discrimination, black and something, gender, I don't remember. Well, anyway, one of the things that I spoke about was my experience, and of course my experience, I lived with a lot of the women that were there. And I said, I mean, because you don't have most black women that are feminists in this country. We're very, 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 very few, I mean. And I said, and that is one of the reasons, because you girls haven't been able to actually look at us, look at our culture and respect it. I mean, it's not even understand it. I mean, you just need to respect and say, you know, this is something different from what I've learned and the way I have been. And so there is something different in the world, and you need to accept and respect the difference. I'm not saying that you need to understand it, because I don't need to come here and start explaining my difference, because that's a lack of respect. And you know, everybody was like, oh, really? Yes. I said yes, because normally when we talk about discrimination, it's a list of complaints. Because I'm black, you look at me bad. Because I'm black, you sit me in the back, and those kind of things. And I said, you know, no, we need to change that. I mean, we really need to go for a change. We need to really have a different insight of this thing. So we need to grow. And if we need to grow, we need to sit around the same table and say, you know what? This and this and this and that. So we have to learn to make our voice be heard. So that's the point. And now to reach to the point where they're actually inviting me to say these things, it's like, oh, I've come a long way, baby. I was all excited, to tell you the truth. I was very, very excited. Because of course I went back, you know, one of those years from in the 90s. And so when I said, I'm black, I'm not woman before being black, and so and now you're saying, tell me why you're black before being woman. I'm interested, please. They even paid me for it.
Yes.
Yes. So,
you've used this term feminism. Can you tell me what that means to you, or how you understand or define feminism?
Well, to me, feminism means corriente de pensamiento, way of thinking. It gave you different kind of criteria to face the world. And I actually see feminism very close to Christianism. Me. Because I take feminism not as a dogma. You know, I will never take it as a dogma. And I don't take Christianism as a dogma either. So it's like taking the best things out of this and saying, you know, I mean, this helped me to create a way of living.
And what are some of those criteria that you would use to define them?
Some of those criteria that I use to define feminism is, in the first place, a relationship of respect among people. You know, between men and women, and between women also. You know, so that's the first very powerful thing for me. That when I learn, and then the next thing is that you could learn to be this way. It's not a natural and normal thing. You know, it just doesn't come. It just doesn't burn with it. It's like it has to do with your lifestyle. It has to do with your life experience, etc., etc. And it's something that could be used basically with anybody. I don't think that the feminist criteria are only for women. And since for me it's a way of living, it is for men also. So we could, like use the same criteria to deal with whoever and whatsoever, because it has to do also with the generational gap. So my grandchildren really love me, sincerely, believe me. They love me because I feel like I understand them so well. But it's because I learned that, when I said, oops, from these criteria, I could listen well and hear what you have to say, and then I compromise you to hear what I have to say, so we get into a decent conversation. So
you consider yourself a feminist?
Yeah, because of those things.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit and ask you if you see a relationship between scholarship and academic work and activism related to women's issues.
Sorry? Yeah.
Do you see a relationship between scholarship or work that's research that might be produced, academic work that might come out of the university, and the work that women's organizations are doing in Nicaragua? Do you see any connection between those two things?
Yes, I do. I do see the connection because you see, our lives have to do with way of thinking. And our lives have to do with sharing these way of thinking. And it's not a common person, like an everyday woman like me, who could really go in depth and interpret certain things. Because even if I am thinking something, a lot of time I don't have the capability of interpreting what I am thinking and the way I am acting. So it is just like, we need a doctor. Because if I'm even sick and my heart is not going well, the cardiologist is a person to say, that heart. So in this case, it would be like the scholars who would say, what's not really going well between men and women, or from a woman point of view. So these works that they do, especially things that has to do with research and investigation, those kind of things, I think they're real necessary, they're really needed for us to really understand the matter, because relationship doesn't just stop right here. It's an ongoing thing, and it's an in-depth thing. So we really need to have grassroots and scholars. I'm convinced of that. Yeah.
And with the other organizations, can you talk a little bit about how you are working with other organizations in Nicaragua through the Network of Violence Against Women?
When you say other organizations, like me, for years I've been here, but I don't represent any organization. I'm here on my own. So we get together and we make national assemblies, and there we kind of like take out the líneas gruesas, the big thing. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to dedicate out this year to the law, that is the new law that is being passed. And then we come in the office and we kind of like plan everything. What that means? Okay, that means that a group have to be in the National Assembly. Okay, who could be on this group? Well, we need a lawyer, we need more sociologists, and then we kind of like make a list, send it out, and then they say, okay, this is approved. Or I propose that I can be on the list, and things like that. That's the way we work. But like to say, work directly from the network with a specific organization, we doesn't do it like that.
Okay.
It's a political issue that we do, and we do it with everybody.
And what are some of the current issues that women are working on right now? And are you working on issues that are issues that women from the Atlantic Coast are working on? Or are you working on issues now more central to Managua?
We're working on mostly like more general issue. So it's like what I have like committed myself to. I said like anything that is happening has to be happening on the Atlantic Coast also. So with this law, it's like we have, I don't know how to say this in English, derecho consuetudinario. that has to do with the indigenous way of claiming justice, of handling things that has to do with justice. I mean, they have their own judges in their communities, and I made sure that this is being respected by the law. So then I got together with our deputy and I said, look here now, I mean, you know that this law that you people are handling, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to the Atlantic Coast, of course, the network got money. I went to the Atlantic Coast, I sat with a group of women and we discussed this and they said, look, to make this work, this is our proposal, da, 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 da. And then I came and I worked it out.
Okay.
So, but I wasn't full-time here yet.
Okay.
So now that I'm full-time, I've just started before that, the 1st of June. And I am like, oh my gracious, because you know, I mean, it's a bigger stress because I have to respond to all the national issue. Because I am the person to coordinate all that has to do with political actions. So, that is not going too nicely. Because I'm going to Bluefields there for tomorrow, precisely, to work with a 2 days workshop, and they said out that's they do, and there's another one that is just for Latin America, so I'm going to work with them with that. And they're saying here in the office, it's like, no, but I mean, we need you here. And I said, yes, and I need you there, and that's a network all around. And so, but I know it's going to become an issue. I know, but I know that there is much more so much sensibly, you know, they're really sensitive to the issue now than they were years before. So I have alliance, there, and the coordinating commission, and so.
And what are some of the issues that women on the Atlantic Coast are organizing around right now? What are the current problems that women are addressing?
I don't know. I don't think any like real specific issue because before one of the specific issue was like around the autonomy law and to really make that a goal, but the whole autonomy system is not working. So that kind of like you know drop back because I mean it's just not working, and one of the main reasons why it is not working is because the national parties are who is really ruling there. So then, I mean, what is the difference with the rest of the country? It's the same way they deal with politics and everywhere. So women also are like, doesn't have a specific thing, you know, and it's not easy for the women on the Atlantic Coast to get together. Yeah, I don't know. I really need to deal with that because I have been like, you know, when my mother got sick and when she died, I sort of like, you know, I'm not there. I wasn't anywhere. I was just at home. And when I came back, I found so much change. You know, that things that we had advanced with, we just kind of like came rolling back. And that's one of it. And one of the things that I have observed, is that since the organization needs to get economic help, financial support, and then the financial support every day is like less and harder to get and things like that. So you know everybody's kind of like I need to get it, and it's not leaving space for women to actually say, you know, really a issue or political issue, or it has to do with violence or women economic situation, whatever. It's more like very dependent. So, I mean, if you go there tomorrow and say, you know something, I think that what women should be dealing with is what? Learning to cook. I mean, you'll have the women learning to cook. And so that rebelliousness that we used to have before, and it's like, no, but you didn't ask me what I wanted, so please sit, let us talk. I mean, that's not there anymore. I found And what really happened, leaders that were there are not there anymore either. Yeah. Yeah. We have gone to other space, and the younger women are different in that sense. They really take care of themselves. You know.
Can you tell me a little bit about the role of the women's movement and maybe the organization you're working for now in creating changes for women's empowerment and health? Are there specific things that the movement or that the organizations have done that create changes for women's health?
Well, I'm working here with the National Network Against Violence. And beside that, we have decided that what we do from here has to do with political incidents. So we work, like I told you about the law, and we're like trying to be updated in other things that are happening in the public world, in the political world, and then the next thing what we're trying to do right now is that we should not get contaminated, you know, contaminated by what is happening in this social and political world, because we are in electoral campaign and things like that, and in the past that have really divided us because of the different parties. And so this year what we have done is in May we got together, you know, all 75 of us, and so I said, okay, what will be the rules for us to go by this year, that you know we could stick together and pass this wave.
If the law was passed, would that be sufficient for women to address health?
No.
What's the role of the women's organizations?
The role of the women organization is to keep the violent subject on board. And to keep saying things that we have already learned, that this is not natural, and all that it causes to women and to their family and in their environment. You know, because we are learning that violence against women really has to do a lot with the production in the country, it has to do a lot with the economy in the country, and it has to do so much with her health. That, I mean, her mental health, her physical health. And so we're like updated in all these investigations. Some of them are like worldwide, and you know, so then we bring it and we make it an issue for learning process. And then what we do is, like this year, for example, we have gotten funding from a Swedish organization that we're going to go working in the different territories. You know, when we talk about the territory, like the two territories on the Atlantic coast, and we're going to go Baileo and Chinandega, and so well, we have like 7 territories in the country, and then we are going to work around strengthening women leadership, precisely what I'm talking about. So we are going about that, you know, because that women from their local environment could start talking out. So our thing is that the leaders will become strong leaders, and that they could actually approach the subject wherever and whenever in their own environment. So that's one of the things that we're doing right now. So it's like all of our process is towards that, in strengthening women leadership, that we may be able to really deal with struggling against violence.
Situations a couple of times, and I know you've been outspoken about globalization and the neoliberal policies and how they affect people on the Atlantic coast, but could you say a little bit about how those neoliberal policies impact women in particular?
Yes, because look, as long as women doesn't learn, as long as we don't learn how to deal with public affairs, I mean, we will continue being domestic workers. So if they're even in the farm, there are the women who knows how to do the planting and the reaping and whatever. I mean, they are not there discussing, and therefore they are not handling the resources. You know. And then when we start talking about these macroeconomic things, you know, we don't even have a market a local market in Puerto Cabezas where we produce enough locally to maintain that market. But yet they're talking about exportation. So then now we're going to start talking about exporting our goods, and we can't get our enough goods to the market for our daily living. So I mean, so this is a problem that really affects the whole society, but particularly it affects women, because especially in the indigenous community, women are who are there doing in the farming. See what I mean? So if women doesn't learn about this issue, I mean, we just continue seeing it like part of our domestic work, and there is not no growth toward. Of course, this has to do with the whole global policy, but when we talk about women, it's like, you know, women are even being drawn farther from really becoming a subject, a political subject, and that means a political object.
Already, but can you say a little bit more about the role of networking with women's organizations outside of Nicaragua? And how have you made use of women's organizations regionally or internationally?
I didn't hear that.
You've met with women's organizations throughout Central America, yeah? And outside as well, done some work with Beijing. Can you talk about the role of working with these international groups and addressing women's issues in Nicaragua?
Well, let me see. I have years of not doing that, because after Beijing and Beijing +5 and that, I just kind of like retrace it. You know, I'm fed up. I have so much words, and there's so much less deeds comes out of those words. But anyway, working with these international groups and things is like to be able to share things. And remember when we spoke about the scholars and academic thing that strengthen grassroots level, and grassroots level strengthens also these investigations. Well, I think that working with international organization and things is something like that, because it's like learning globally how to deal with what you have locally. And in terms of women's rights, you know, it's not like everybody going to reach to the UN or to the Commission or to the IDH, the Interamericano de Derechos Humanos. So, well, anyway, but we work with these groups in a way that we could strengthen each other. You know, like just now we're working with an international mission, that's their name, international mission. And they're working around the death of women that is growing just so fast and at a very alarming thing. The femicide. So we have linked up as National Network Against Violence. We have linked up with international things, and I mean they keep us posted, like, you know, this is happening in the world, and this research have shown us that this and this and this or whatever. Like, one of the frightening thing about this, for example, with the femicide, is that a lot of women are being killed because they have decided to leave a violent relationship. So then it's like, I mean, how are we going to deal with that? We can't stop saying that, I mean, saying no to violence. But if saying no to violence means your life, it's like, excuse me. I mean, so we're kind of like, you know, stuck there, and of course this is something we would have to do, not have to, but it would be much more fruitful to deal with other organizations who are not here. Because I remember, for example, in 1995 when I went to the United States, after I came back from China, that was one of the things that women were saying. I was in Burlington and Washington, and when I sat with the women, they were like, you know, women are dying here because they're saying no. And I'm like, but how? Oh, no, they're dying here, so I understand better. And we were like, yeah, what to do? And then you were talking about rehab. You know, that when these men goes to jail, they would pass through a rehabilitation process and this and that, but it's not really working. It's not really working. Maybe 1 out of 1,000 comes out and says, you know, I actually did wrong. So you know, those kind of issues, we really need to work it together. I mean, with anybody and everybody who is working on that subject. So those kind of things. So it's not like we have a relationship where it's like anything and everything. No, the international relationship are specific things that we deal with. So.
Of the 60 women from Nicaragua that went to the Beijing conference?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure when you said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was at the Beijing conference. And then I went to your country and then I spoke about the Beijing conference. And then they were mad, a lot of the women, because the women that spoke before me was like, oh, China, so dirty, so terrible. And I was like, I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see what you so sorry. I did that. Because of course there were all these, it was at a university, and there were a lot of Oriental people from all over Korea, and so they are like eager to hear what happened. And I remember there was just this one specific one. She was very rude and nasty about it, and she was like, because in China, you know, of course, to a big event like this, we had like older women who made these great bands, and they were with the platillo and things. The women in China took out their pots and pans from their kitchen and were on the street. I said, I didn't see that. They looked so well. Did you see how they were dressed? And the way they created music, and the way they moved around music. Oh, that was just so wonderful. Well, but I mean, that does happen, of course. United States and China are two potential. Nicaragua doesn't even know where it is, so I didn't have that kind of problem. And I did say, of course, they hear it, and women, they were just so, and then I started talking about other things that we did. You know, the Iraq women were there, or that was one thing that, because it was like, we're saying, no, we want you to talk about the war. And we were like, no, we're not here for that. Sorry, not here. So, but it was good.
You've used this language about human rights. Is that something that the movement uses a lot?
Oh, yes, yes. What happened, we deal with violence against women as a lack of human rights. That's the way we deal with it from our network.
Why?
Because public health problem is a problem of human rights. So when we talk about human rights, we're talking like economic problem, because now we're dealing with violence, like physical violence, psychological violence, economic violence, patrimonial violence. I don't know if it's patrimonial you say in English, pero violencia de patrimonial, that's the way it's Spanish. That has to do with the financial and economy from the household. So that we call in Spanish violencia patrimonial. So you know, we are kind of like seeing that violence is a thing that is like a cancer. It is spreading, and it's not even true really that, I mean, if you have a high academic level, you doesn't live violence. I mean, that's even more frightening, because it's like nobody could really escape this blame thing. So we need to get at it together, you know.
When did the movement start using this language of human rights? Do you remember? Because it wasn't always so.
Really? It wasn't always so. No, eh?
No? It was always.
Yes, it was always, because when I came in this national network, already Vienna had passed, and those were like the basic, you know, the base work of the violence against women.
Well, are there any other topics that I didn't ask you about that you really wanted to tell us about?
No, I think we like most of it.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I thank you again for being willing to be part of the Global Feminisms Project.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, you see, this is a very important, here we're talking about the Inter-American Convention to prevent, to chastise, and to do away with violence against women. And this is a very, very international international instrument that we use to work around the issue of violence. So right now we're doing some workshops on this in different places in the country. This is our slogan for our campaign 1910-19. How comes? 2010, 2011. You people have made me nervous. Have you noticed?
No.
Yes, so here we're talking, we have decided that we will talk about justice for women and that the aggressors should be chastised, those who commit violence against women. Because this is from the point of view that violence against women is a felony. It is a crime. So this is our slogan for this year. Government hasn't really signed the protocol, you know, that has to do with this convention on eliminating all forms of discrimination against women. So we're on that now this year, that we need the government to sign the protocol.
Nicaragua has not signed it.
No, because you see, we have two things. We have the convention that has been signed in 1981.
Yeah.
But then we have the protocolo facultativo that goes along with it, that to really make it real, you know, it would be like the reglamentación, and that the government has to sign. So we just have like this very romantic part, but the other part really doesn't have it functioning yet.
In Los Estados Unidos, we didn't even sign the first one.
Yeah, the government here is really have they signed the human rights?
No.
No. So then it's like, you know, the convention has that. It's like, the convention is this and that, you have all these articles that tell you what you should do or what you shouldn't do to eliminate discrimination against women. But then the governments, the states, should sign a protocol that says that what the state is going to do around this is like to always have like the Commissariat de la Mujer functioning well, that they would give enough money, that you know these things would function and so on and so forth.
So in a way, it's we can sign the convention, but then we have to ratify it.
Yeah.
Once you ratify it, then the states are accountable for turning in updates every year.
Yeah.
So the U.S. won't sign it. The U.S. won't sign it because they said it's not cultural.
You see?
That's what they said. For their CEDAW, they said the same thing. They said, if we give women these rights, it takes away from our culture surrounding family.
Terrible of these women.